What's up, North Texas and Go Mean Green fans? I am joined today by the one and only Sanoe Valente, better known as the Mean Green Show. Usually it's the other way around. I'm joining his podcast. Today he came over here to jump on and just I guess shoot the crap about how he's feeling going into with the first day of fall camp starting. Sanoe, how are you, man?
I'm good. Yeah, we're reversing roles here. I haven't heard too much yet. I just saw that they posted a video. I haven't watched it yet for Eric Morris's presser post-practice. But, for me, I feel like first and foremost is the quarterback speculation, the quarterback race. And I'm really eager to see how that plays out. And I think a lot of us have pegged Chandler Rogers as the clear front runner for that. And it seems like Eric Morris is going to take a different approach than Coach Luttrell has in the past, as far as I think he's stated that he wants to name it by the first or second scrimmage, his starting quarterback. And we've known, that in past years we would go to, week 1, maybe even week 5 with not exactly knowing who's the QB is going to be. So it seems like Morris is taking a different approach, which I think fans probably appreciate that more, less gray area. But I think that's the focal point right now for me anyway, just trying to figure out who's going to be the official name starter and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I got to listen to a little bit of the press conference or the interview, whatever you want to call it, after practice. And to me, I mean, it's just a new era of North Texas football. But I mean, it's more of a breath of fresh air. I mean, just like listen to his interview, it's not the same old coach speech. And I, no offense to Seth, I think I've said it numerous times. North Texas football was in a lot better place when he left it than when he came. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of a coach speech, and it was just it was kind of a beatdown. So getting to see Eric, going into the season, new stadium name, new conference, and listening to him talk, it's just like I said, it's for me, the fan side, it's just a breath of fresh air. You got a chance to talk to him at the media day. What are your overall thoughts about Eric Morris and kind of where he's going to take North Texas football?
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't asked him yet. I'm not sure if I will or not, at least on the record. I just don't know how he would appreciate that question or not, but I might. But he's stated a few times that him and Coach Luttrell have kind of somewhat of a close relationship, being that Luttrell coached at Tech while he was a player. So the only reason why I say all that, I'm kind of curious. I wonder, and again, I don't know what's, if it's distasteful or not to kind of ask, as the successor, some tips. But I almost wonder if he has had some candid conversations with Coach Luttrell of, just how to, how Luttrell maybe did things here, and maybe some advice, being that, Luttrell was the head coach here for 7 seasons. I'm sure he's learned a lot. So I'm curious to know if they've had any conversations between each other, just kind of getting information. But he's 36 years old, Coach Morris, and so he's just a hair older than us. Kind of makes us feel bad about what we're doing with our life. But
Yep.
He's just high energy, and it seems everywhere he's gone, he's made a quarterback at the very least pretty good, if not really good. So just really trying to be patient and see, but I'm excited to see how that pans out again. If Rogers is the guy, what's that going to be like? And I spoke with Brune recently, just kind of asking him, what does he think the identity is going to be? We've been so run heavy in the last few years because of Coach Cobbs and the running back room that he's put together. So it'll be interesting to see, an air raid guy kind of come into what has been super run heavy. And again, we have a pretty mature offensive line, even though we lost, Manasseh. And yeah, so I'm really curious to see how that pans out. Also defensively, just the 3-3-5 thing, we've kind of seen that not work. Doesn't mean it can't work. Other teams in the nation obviously have done it really successfully. It seems like everybody who's done a 3-3-5 at North Texas, it just hasn't really worked. But so I'm a little, apprehensive, maybe just from the past. But I'm still excited to see how the defensive shakes out, and really pulling for Mason Richards to have a big year. I'm hoping he does. Obviously with Roderick Brown as well, and that defensive line. But as Coach Morris has stated, we'll see how the linebackers go. And then defensive back wise, I mean, Logan Wilson and Ridge Tejada seem like they're gonna, be like the two main guys back there as far as surefire starters. It seems like I can't remember the names at the moment. Maybe Thompson and another guy, but Reed made a comment of there might be a battle at that cornerback spot, and I think that's something to keep an eye out for. I can't remember the names he said that were in that battle off the top of my head right now, but that's something that interesting. Other than quarterbacks, obviously, I'm interested to see kind of how that secondary shakes out.
Yeah, I mean that's they've already won some big recruiting battles. Taylor Starlin, a guy that I'm interested in seeing talking about defensive backs. John Davis, that's a guy that the past staff raved on. Had kind of an injury problem last year, but interested to see how he bounces back. And I've been doing little roster previews, breakdowns, and when you start going to some of these positions, me as the fan side's like, oh man, I wish we'd have went and got more guys, at this position, at this position, or added more depth here. But when you start going through, I mean, North Texas has got a lot of guys coming back that's played a lot of football, and that's the part that's like really stood out to me. Doing the whole roster breakdown and trying to preview each position is this is not a super young roster. I mean, they've got a lot of young talent, but for the most part, at a lot of positions, they've played a lot of football. That's kind of got me excited. But like I said, the 3-3-5 defense does make me nervous. What Iowa State's done the past few years, gives me hope, gives me optimism. And I'll link your interview with Brune. I know y'all talked about season predictions and stuff, and you talked about roster, or not roster, but how y'all think the season will end, wins and losses record wise. But how are you feeling right now? Day one of fall camp, September 2nd, California. Power 5 team comes to the newly named Datku Stadium. Are you confident? Are you taking the North Texas in 9 points? Or are you?
So kind of piggybacking off of each other's podcast. So listen to the one that you did with the guy from Cal, and he made some really interesting points. And so right now it's at 9.
As of yesterday, it was the website I looked at was 9.
If it's at 9, shoot, man, I don't know. At 8, I liked Cal to cover just off the cuff. I mean, there's just too many unknowns. I feel like for North Texas, we haven't seen this offense under Morse's his first game as a head coach for North Texas. There's going to be a new starting quarterback, whoever it is, and I know Coach Schwartz would never say this on record, and he has not told me off. This is just speculation, but I feel like if you're a new head coach, you can't help but would prefer to have at least a warm-up game against maybe a AA school like Abilene Christian, but he's having to start off with a Power 5. I mean, granted, it is at home, and that could be kind of bittersweet, Obviously, if they win or at least make it a good game, then that could, start a lot of momentum going into the season. But if it, was like a Marshall disaster or something like that, I mean, it could get pretty, the fans could probably get pretty put out pretty quick, especially if they come out in a large number to the whatever 100 degrees it's going to be, on September 2nd.
That's the thing. When I was doing that, I hadn't really looked at the schedule, really tried to break down Cal or anything like that. But going through, getting ready for the interview with Jim McGill, Cal's got just as many, if not more, question marks than North Texas. I mean, they've got new offensive coordinators. The defense struggled last year. They brought in a bunch of transfers. Their quarterback is a transfer from TCU, so it's not like we're going to. I know Brune used the analysis. We're not going up against Alabama. We're not going up against Tennessee. I mean, this is a winnable game in my opinion. But like you said, I mean, I could see North Texas winning by 10, and I could see North Texas losing by 20. I mean, that's the thing about the first game is we really have no clue. But I think the thing we have going for us is each team has a ton of question marks. I mean, all the way from starting quarterbacks to defense. And I was thinking today, I mean, I think this is the first time in the last 10 years that we're not really sure about the kicking game. I mean, special teams, we've kind of been spoiled at North Texas and been blessed with great kickers and great returners. But, I mean, we're not even 100% sure who the guy will be kicking field goals. So definitely a lot of question marks. But definitely a lot of excitement going into a new era as well.
Yeah, quick question for you, just a quick perspective. I know I'm trying to keep this kind of short, but out of the defensive backs, I'll name them off real quick that are, they're in this 23 class, whether they're transfers or high school recruits. So you have Phillip Hill coming in from UNLV as safety, Damon Youngblood coming in from Louisiana.
No, he's no longer here.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. But, okay, so moving up then to the high school guys, next being Javen Anderson and then Taylor Starling, as well as there's one more, Brian Nelson.
Yeah.
Do you think any of those freshmen are gonna, dodge the red shirt their first year, or do you think any of those transfers are gonna be immediate starters if you had to guess right now?
I mean, out of those three guys you named, I got a message from, because they did. So I know there's been a lot of talk about the roster and a lot of weight changes and stuff, and everybody's blaming it on nutrition, blaming it on workout and all that stuff. I mean, what happened was the staff and the athletic department went in there and put actual weights. There's no adding 10 pounds here, adding an inch here. I mean, those are the legit NFL combine weights. So that was the main changes. There was no change in nutrition. There was no change in none of that stuff. So I know a lot of people on the board were, this guy lost this weight, this guy gained this, and there was a lot of question marks around that. But the three guys you named, to get back to that, I mean, those guys have came in ready to play day one physically. So it would not surprise me if Taylor Starling's your slot cornerback against Cal game one. Javen Anderson, there's a chance he could be your starting safety game one. I mean, they are, with the new coaching staff, everybody's kind of on the same slate, coming in day one. A guy that, out of the three you mentioned, I think a dark horse that he was one of my favorite recruits, and I think he was super underrated and wasn't talked about near enough, but that's Brian Nelson, 6 foot, 183. The dude's a cornerback, but he hits like a safety, and I think that's a guy that out of the three you named, I think he probably could have been talked about the least on signing day, but I think he's got a chance to maybe have the most impact day one. So out of the three, yeah, I mean, I'm not rolling any of them out. Like I said, if it was, say, the last staff that had a bunch of these guys, a year or two with the guys, but this is a new system. Everybody's starting from square one. Another guy that I'd like to throw out just is Colin Lewis. He's an East Texas guy, Gladewater, 5'11", 194. He's another guy. I mean, that's those four, I think, all have the potential to see some playing time this year, and even some of them may come in, play 2 or 3 games and still keep the red shirt, but I definitely think we see all four potentially this year. Well, I will. We can wrap this up. I know. Sanoe, thanks for jumping on, man. I know we'll probably chat here in the next few days. We got a lot of stuff going on. September 2nd is going to be here before we know it. But until then, go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.